Chapter 3. Hi, it's Reed Winchester. Reed! Reed! I hear a familiar voice as I'm walking down the corridor towards the auditorium. I turn around and I see my best friend Emma running towards me with her long wavy hair bouncing behind her. She stops in front of me holding my shoulder as she tries to catch her breath, and I laugh a little. Are you okay, Emma? Why are you running? You do realise that we have ensemble practice together in an hour, I say, and she giggles. I have some big news to tell you, and it couldn't wait, she says, standing up straight while fixing her binder in her hands. Will and I are moving in together, she says, smiling. I stand there for a moment trying to process what she has just told me. Will and Emma moving in together. I don't know if that's a good idea for the relationship at the moment. That's great, I say, swallowing my pride and smiling. When are you two moving in together? I ask. Tomorrow. We'll have the weekend to get everything sorted. Well, I'll have everything sorted. You know, Will, I'm surprised he even cleaned his own apartment when I got there yesterday, she answers. I need to talk to her. This is a massive step, and I don't think she realises what she is doing. For someone as organised and paranoid as she is, in a good way, I thought she would have thought this through a bit more. I invited her to come for lunch to the small cafe that's near campus, and the whole walk there she keeps going on and on about how excited she is to move in with Will. When we arrive, we order our usual lunch and we sit in the booths near the window. I look at Emma, she pulls out her phone and she looks so happy, happier than she has been in a long time, about this big move with Will. I don't want to ruin it for her, but someone needs to wake her up to this fantasy of hers. Hey Emma, can I talk to you about this whole moving in together situation? What's up, Reed? I just don't think you realise how big of a step this is in your relationship. I mean, moving in together is a huge thing. Like, think about it. What if something bad happens between you two? And what would you do then? There's so much you haven't thought of. Her smile fades away and she looks down at the table and then back up to me. I look at her with frustration, but I look away then back at her after taking a deep breath. I understand this must be really exciting for you because I know this is something you and Will have wanted for a long time, but you need to think it through more. I'm not saying don't do it, but I just want you to be careful. You know that Will hasn't been the easiest person to deal with the last few months, and you guys have had some rough patches in the last 3.5 years. I say, and she crosses her arms and raises her eyebrows at me. I'm not stupid, Reed. I know things haven't been the best, especially with us going to separate schools, but if we want our relationship to maintain, this is the way we gotta do it. It might be difficult at first, but I love him, and his happiness is all that matters to me. What about your happiness, Emma? My happiness is his happiness, Reed. I thought you would understand that, considering you were... Her voice fades as I sink back into the booth chair and cross my arms. Go on, say it. Say that you thought I would understand, considering I was in a relationship for 4 years with Haley, I say. Just like Emma and Will, I did also have who I thought was the love of my life, Haley. She looks an awful lot like Emma, but personality-wise, not really. Haley didn't really spend time with me at all and tried everything in my power and love for her to do something about it, but in the end, she got so-called bored of me, so she broke up with me. As our lunch arrives at our table, we both smile at the waiter, then our smiles fade as we look back at each other. I'm sorry, Reed. I went too far there, but you don't have to agree with what I'm doing, but I want you to at least respect it. This is my life, and like you said, this is what Will and I have wanted for so long, so can you please just be happy for me? I nod, giving in. She's right, it's her life and I should be supportive of her, even if I still disagree with her life choices. She smiles and we spend the next hour eating our lunch and talking about what classical music pieces we want to do for our upcoming topic assessment. What if I help you and Will move tomorrow? Surely you two can't do it on your own, and it's the least I can do to help out my two best friends. It will be like old times, you know, the three of us all hanging out, I ask. I do want to help Emma and Will move in together, in some way, but I also want to see if Will has changed since the last time I saw him, which was Emma's 18th birthday last year. If he is still the same old Will who will do anything to make Emma happy, then I'll be satisfied, but if he's not and he's just a mess, then I'll have to hide my disagreement with him and just act normal, because I want Emma to be happy. Sure, I don't see why not. Will is selling basically everything in his apartment and just taking what he wants, so if you see something that you like of his, just ask him, and I'm sure he'll let you have it. I nod as I finish off the rest of my hot chocolate. Well, we should probably head off to class now, we'll be late, Emma says as she wipes her mouth with her napkin and moves out of the booth and heads towards the door as I follow. Throughout our practical music lesson of working on our assessment pieces, Emma talks about all the things she's excited about to do with Will when they are living together. She wants to make him breakfast in bed, make music together, have movie nights, cuddles in the morning, and there were a lot more things that she said. Oh, and I can't wait to be able to bake cookies again, just how we used to do it all the time when we were in high school. What do you think, Reed? She asks, and I try to replace the strings on my cello but having difficulty doing it. Emma, as much as I care about the things that you would like to do with Will once you move in, I'm trying to fix my cello here if you can't see. I say, trying to remain calm without yelling at her, and she looks away and distracts herself by tuning a violin. I know you're my friend, Emma, best friend actually, but I don't need to hear all this. I know you're very excited and that's great, but that's stuff you and Will are doing together. There's no reason for me to know or have it repeated 1,000 times. I can tell she's upset now about what I've said, but I don't know how else to say it. I used to love doing all those things with Haley, but I don't have that anymore, and everyone will have something like that, really special, but every time Emma mentions it, she's becoming more drawn into this fairy tale that won't remain magical for long. I'm sorry, Reed, but if you're going to help tomorrow, that little attitude of yours needs to change, he says. That's it. Emma, you need to wake up to yourself. I shout and the room goes quiet and everyone in class looks at me and Emma becomes startled. I put down my cello, grab Emma's arm as she quickly places her violin on the chair, and I drag her out of the classroom out to the hallway. Emma, let me refresh your memory. 3 months ago when we started here, you were already complaining that Will wasn't making the effort to come see you, or even arrange a date so you two could spend time with each other. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, he spends a whole day with you, and you two decide to move in together. Doesn't that sound a bit chaotic and idiotic of you? I don't want him hurting you, Emma. Being an adult with your own life without your partner around changes you. And tomorrow, I'll see or not if he's actually changed into a better human being or a slob, I say, and Emma's face crunches up. Don't you dare talk about Will like that. You don't know him like I do, she says, and I take a step forward to her and place my hands on her shoulder. Then why can't you see that he isn't the guy you first fell in love with? When are you going to see that, Emma? I ask, and she relaxes her face and lowers her head. If you two break up because he isn't making the effort anymore and you're getting tired of being in his relationship and he's even committing to, do not expect me to be around to deal with your issues. And as my best friend, who is smart, intelligent, and would always think twice, I thought you would know better. I say, and I walk back inside the classroom, leaving Emma outside. 10 minutes later, Emma arrives back in the classroom and her face and eyes are red. She walks over to where she left her violin on the chair next to me and quickly packs up her things and leaves the classroom without looking or talking to me. As she leaves and about to walk out of the classroom, I see Will stop at the door and Emma stops and looks at him, then back at me and brushes past him. He then walks inside the classroom with a confused expression on his face and makes his way over to me. Will, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at school? I say. How did he even get into the school? Emma told me she was finishing early, so I came to pick her up and take her home, but she just told me that she'll meet me at the car. Do you know what's going on? He asks, and I shrug. Great. Maybe he has changed. I mean, if he came all this way just to pick up Emma after class, I guess that's been committed, but I'm still not convinced. We may have had an argument, but if she wants to be alone, just leave her alone, I say, and Will sits down next to me. You two had an argument? About what? He asks, and I take a deep breath in and out slowly as I prepare to be yelled at by Will as I'm about to tell him how I pissed off his girlfriend. She told me how excited she was about moving in with you, and since you haven't been making the effort to spend time with her, excuse me? I do make the effort to spend time with her, thank you very much. I knew he would cut me off and say that, but obviously he's just as fine as she is. You haven't made the effort at all, Will. Ask her yourself. She'll say the exact same thing as me. She thinks that you moving into her will change things between you two, and you guys will be able to spend more time with each other, I say as I start to pack up my sheet music and cello. But it will. I know it will, because I love Emma and I want to be happy with her. Well, Will, she hasn't exactly been happy the past 3 months, I say as I start to exit the classroom with my satchel on my shoulder and carefully wheeling my cello out to the car park. And Will follows. What do you mean she hasn't been happy? She was happy when she came over yesterday, he says, and I roll my eyes as we walk down the hallway and out the corridor to the car park. Will, the only reason she was happy with you yesterday is because you had the insane idea to move in together. You haven't seen each other for 3 months. Of course she is going to be happy. Will looks at me speechless and puts his hands in his pockets while looking at the ground. I then move towards him and he looks at me dead in the eye. This is going to end badly, and you have 2 options. You either become a better boyfriend for Emma and make her happy, or you can continue your slobby ways and leave Emma to be unhappy. And well, I think we both know how that is going to end. I turn away from Will and step into my car, leaving him standing in the car park. As I drive away, I stop in front of Emma's car where she's standing, waiting for Will, and I wind down the window. She looks at me with tears in her eyes and anger in her face. I can tell she is upset with me. Emma, I know you're upset with me, but I don't want to hear it, Reed. Your attitude better be gone by tomorrow morning, or you're not helping with the move. Not that I really want to help her ruin her life anymore. I know you're trying to look out for me, but maybe start looking after your own issues. You couldn't even get your relationship with Haley right, and you're giving me advice? Emma says. I feel as though time had just stopped and my heart has been shattered as Emma brings up Haley. She has no right to say that. She has no idea what the hell I went through. If she was actually around instead of complaining about Will and listening to my problems, maybe she would understand, but she doesn't. She's just as bad as Will right now. You know what? You two deserve each other because you are both selfish and inconsiderate of anyone else's feelings but your own. So yeah, have fun helping your prick-of-a-ass boyfriend move tomorrow, because I won't be there. I'm not going to help my so-called best friend ruin her life anymore, I say, winding up the window aggressively and driving out of the car park back to my apartment. As her words replay in my head, my grip on the wheel becomes tighter. I feel all this anger and rage inside of me as I feel my eyes water, but I try to hold back my tears. When I arrive home, I open the door and throw my keys and my bag on the floor and slam the door shut. I look around my apartment and I feel like smashing everything that I see. But I let out a deep breath and let my tears fall down my face and emotions take over me as I slide back down the door and hit the floor. And I hold my legs together. Emma is not the person I met in year 10. She has changed, all because of Will. When I met him, I thought he was a pretty cool person, and he seemed to make Emma happy, but they were so obsessed with each other. But she had no right to bring up Haley a second time today. But anyway, Emma has no idea what she's getting herself into. Will moving in with her is like letting your worst nightmare walk right through your door, and everything is going to change now. It's like high school all over again, where Will and Emma were the number one couple and didn't want anyone else but themselves. History repeating itself, and I got ditched, like always. I feel as though Emma isn't my friend anymore. She's too caught up in her own life to even have time for her real friends. Her only real friend. Me.